today, and we hope to have a wonderful 2022 Guadalupe County Goat Show. Thanks for coming. Entering the ring at this time is Class 1 breeding does. These are our yearling breeding does.
Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning and have the opportunity to sort through the goats. Had a great time last year with a lot of quality and exceptional kids here in Guadalupe County and enjoyed it very much. Glad to be back again this year. And we start our dough show off with a really challenging class at times. Excuse me. This is a really good class. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's try that. Really good class to start the day off, and I think a lot of variation in this class in terms of size, age, and length, and all of those things. If you start putting things together, and you can't take a lot away from this first place dough that wins the class. She's obviously the biggest, longest bodied, but she's also super correct off her feet and legs, very functional, got a big rib in her. She's good on her feet and legs when she moves, and yet she's very angular and feminine about her head, neck, and shoulder. She's got plenty of muscle to go along with it. She's not the heaviest muscle dough in the class. I'd realize that, but in terms of growth and potential, I think she excels the class in those areas. And then it gets really close for me. I think the dough in second, if I could trim her up a little bit, she probably runs to the top of this class. Today, she's just a little too fat. She's a little too mature in her size and shape, but one that's super wide-based and stout-made. This is a weather maker here. She's massive in her top. She's big in her hip. She's wide-based. I just love to trim her up a little bit, give her a little more extension out through her front end as we compare her to our class winner. I think it's close between third through fifth. The third place dough, super correct, really good on her feet and legs. She's not as wide-based and stout-made as the two that stand in front of her. I'd like to extend her front end and get her up off the ground just a little more in her chest floor, make her more elegant about her head, neck, and shoulder. Little white dough that ends up in fourth, really stout-made, heavy muscle, big boned weather-producing dough. The problem, as I told this young man, is this one looks more like a weather than it does a dough. Not quite as feminine about a head, neck, and shoulder. Excuse me. Not as neat on the profile to look at, and not as functional in terms of rib shape, depth of rear flank, and all those things. Paint dough that ends up in fifth in this class, really attractive from the side, gets out horsed in terms of muscle shape and bone shape. Really like to change her in those areas. Give these kids a round of applause for a really nice first class.
The results from class one of our breeding does: 11th place is McKenna Kelm, 10th place Peyton Pape, 9th place Taylor Young, 8th place Emma Hartman, 7th place Cameron Cerna, 6th place Brooke Clements, 5th place Reese Kelm, 4th place Braden Fancher, 3rd place Mason Wurzbach, 2nd place Jordan Lunday, and 1st place Kaylee Lott. Now entering the ring is our single entry class 2 breeding doe by Lainey Osborne.
Well, a single entry in this second class of age does or yearling does Really nice one, though. I think she's wide-based and stout-made. Like to make her a little more cooperative so she could show herself off out here a little bit for this young lady. But I think she needs to be stronger in her top line as well, but very deserving of first place ribbon. Let's give her a round of applause.
Next up is Class 3 of our breeding does. These are our mature does, and there's 4 entries. Congratulations to Lainey Osborne, first place in Class 2. Immediately following Class 3, we will have our champion doe drive and then begin our wither show with Class 1. If you have a Class 1 wither, please start getting them prepared.
Let me have you rabbit exhibitors' attention. I'm going to make one announcement first. On everything that we do here is for you young people, okay? One thing that all this work that's done is all volunteer. Nobody gets paid to do it or anything like that. So if you see any of these people, committee members, doesn't matter what committee they're on, stop by, shake their hand, tell them thank you for what they do. Also, the other thing is we have your buckles that are donated. We have the Grand Champion Rabbits, the Reserve, Grand Champion Fryer, Reserve Champion Fryer. All of these buckles are bought and donated by people, and we need to recognize them. If you see any of them, you know them, stop, shake their hand, tell them thank you. The Grand Champion buckle, or the Grand Champion Rabbit buckle, is donated by Bradley and Darla Mundine. The Reserve Champion is donated by Ron and Sandy Carroll. The Grand Champion Fryer buckle is donated by GVTC Foundation. And the Reserve Champion Fryer buckle is donated by Donnie and Elaine Englehart. These people, our show would not be possible unless we have these. And I think we owe every one of these people and all the volunteers that help and put this show on for you young people. I think we need to give them all a big round of applause. Okay, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to start calling Class 2 in. Now listen for your number. If your number is called, come in over on this side where the number is at, not on the side where the carpeted table is. Y'all can start filing in, find your number, and stand behind it because we're just about finished here with class number 1. Okay, here's your numbers. Number 130, 106, 27, 23, 95, 105, 61, 58, 56, 31, 30, 28, 25, 143, 96, 93, 123, 131, 132, 134, 137, 49, 21, 6, 11, 122, 144, 163, 159, 157, 82, number 2, 18, 155, 84, 142, 36, 101, 35, 55, 70, 14, 41, 45, 64, 126. Once they're completed with class number 1 or division 1, what we will do is I will announce the winners. Once we get them all, we'll do them all at one time. So if your number was called, y'all come on in, stand behind your cage. The judge would like you to take at least one step back from the cage while he is judging.
Very nice aged doe class here, and I think 4 individuals that are all high quality and really nice does. I think the white doe is going to win it pretty handily for me. In terms of feet and leg structure, she's the most sound. She gets around the ring and moves well. She's really built well from the ground up. Wide-based, stout-made doe that's really got a big hip in her. Maybe you could trim her up just a little bit, young man. She's getting a little cover on her, but I think she's still very elegant about her head, neck, and shoulder, and very functional off her feet and legs. The one in second's the one that gives me troubles out here at times. I love her from a profile standpoint. Really neat to look at. Strong in her. Out enough from behind, a little narrower made from behind. So the third place doe, really nice design from a profile standpoint, not as wide base, not as stout made as the 2 in front of her. She gets a little narrow base from behind and flatten her stifle, but a really attractive doe up to her front end. The fourth place doe, probably heavier muscle than we have in third. I just like to fix her hip and hind leg structure. Gets weak in her pasterns, not as good a set to her hock on the move, and she wants to round out of her hip just a touch. Good class. Congratulations to these doe exhibitors.
Congratulations to Class 3 breeding does. 4th place, Lainey Osborne. 3rd place, Kaylee Lott. 2nd place, Mason Lott. And 1st place, Jordan Lunday. We're going to welcome back into the ring our 1st and 2nd place does from Class 1, 2, and 3 for our champion drive. 2nd place from Class 1 is Jordan Lunday, Kingsbury 4-H. And 1st place, Kaylee Lott, Marion FFA. First place from Class 2 is Lainey Osborne from the Marion FFA. Second place from Class 3 is Mason Lott from Marion FFA. And first place from Class 3, Jordan Lunday, Kingsbury 4-H. First call for Class 1 of our Withers. So Class 1, please start coming to line up. We would like to thank our buckle donors for Reserve Champion Doe, Kevin and Michelle Hazy, Lynn and Holly McCall, Blake and Shannon McCall, and Preston and Miranda Richardson. Our Champion Doe buckle donor is in memory of Howard and Russell Outenhoff, given by the Gurman Goats, presented by Stephen Gurman, Republican candidate for Guadalupe County Commissioner, Precinct 4.
We'll bring all of our three class winners back into the ring for selection of your grand doe. A really nice set all the way from the first class to the third class. I think there's a lot of differences out here, types of kinds and shapes, but the yearling class or the doe kid class, really a nice set there. I think a really complete one, very youthful in her appearance, very neat about her head, neck, and shoulder. Looks like a female, super good off her feet and legs, big ribbed and a big wide hip in her. The yearling class that come out of class 2, Another one that's really stout made and heavy muscled, maybe not as balanced up as well, a little weaker in her top line, not quite as stout when you get right behind her as the two that stand on either side of her. The big white doe that comes out of the age class, a really nice one in terms of feet and leg structure. She's built extremely well, really wide based, a little more mature about her shoulder, which you would expect out of an aged doe, but I'd really like to trim her up quite a bit as we talk about putting her into production. But I like the shape of her front end, I like the shape of her hip, a wide-based, stout-made doe. I think it's close. However, the first class winner will be your champion today. The aged doe will be reserved. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your breeding champion coming out of Class 1, Kaylee Lott. And your reserve champion is going to be Jordan Lunday from Class 3. Again, we appreciate our buckle donors. Our champion doe buckle donor is in memory of Howard and Russell Altenhoff, given by Gurman Goats, and presented by Steve Gurman, a Republican candidate for Guadalupe Commissioner, Precinct 4. Our reserve champion doe buckle was given by Kevin and Michelle Hazy, Lynn and Holly McCall, Blake and Shannon McCall, and Preston and Miranda Richardson. Class 1 withers should be in the holding area at this time. Last call, Class 1. There are 10 entries in Class 1. Entering the arena at this time is Class 1 of our Market Goat show, and we have 10 entries with 8 placing. Class 2 Withers, this is your first call. Class 2 Withers.
Really nice class of lightweight goats, a lot of quality in this one, and I think that's where the one that wins the class excels in terms of skeletal quality and design. Super good off his feet and legs. I'll be the first to admit I'd like to make him wider and stouter. He's a little bit frailer for my kind, but he needs more rib shape to him. He needs more rear flank in him. He needs just a nickel more bone, but this one's as good as they make in this class in terms of feet and leg structure, the way he moves around the ring. He's got a nice touch and handle to him down his top. Young man does a good job of presenting him and feeding him today. The goat in second's the one that bothers me a little bit in the way he's designed. I'd like to change him up in the way his shoulder blends into his rib cage or his rack shape. That's the biggest hip goat. He's got a big loin in him. He's really good in his hind legs. Just not quite as well put together as our class winner in terms of the way he's designed, coming from his shoulder into his rib cage as our class winner. The third place goat, another big stout boned one. Not as much muscle as the two in front of him, but he's really heavy boned and stout made. I'd like to level his hip up a little bit and give him more flex and cushion to his hock and pasterns on his hind leg, but a really nice one in terms of muscle shape down his top. Fourth and fifth get a little close. I think the one in fourth, easily the heaviest muscle goat in the class, whopping top in him. I mean, just massive down his top, a lot of thickness to him, gets off in his hind leg, not as good in his structure, and I think he excels the one that ends up in fifth in the same way. He's better out of his hip and hind leg than the one in fifth. The one in fifth, another one with a big loin in him, not quite as good to the touch, not as fresh today. Good class. Congratulations to you exhibitors.
Class 2, this is your final call. Class 2. Results from Class 1, 8th place, Lainey Osborne, Marion FFA. 7th place, Peyton Pape, McQueenie 4-H. 6th place, Auburn Frost, Navarro FFA. 5th place, Preston Cheatham, New Berlin 4-H. 4th place, Braden Fancher, Kingsbury 4-H. 3rd place, Peyton Pape, McQueenie 4-H. 2nd place, Madison Townsend, Seguin FFA. And 1st place, Clayton Wilkins, Navarro FFA. Now coming into the ring will be Class 2. We have 10 entries with 8 placing.
you rabbit people, I have to make a correction. Believe it or not, I made a mistake. On this class, I had it down as we had 45 in there. There's actually 46. So that's going to bump it up. We will place 35 out of this class, not 34. So we're 46, 75%, 35 placings out of this class, not 34. I made the mistake.
Excellent class here in our second class, and I think a pair of goats that moved to the top very readily for me. I think both of them have some pros and cons that you like about them, but when this young lady stamps out this one that wins the class, you've got to go ahead and use him. He's big boned and stout made and massive in terms of muscle shape down his top. He's not as fresh right through his hip loin junction. Maybe probably the biggest thing that bothers me about him, and I'm picking on a really good one here, is the way he handles his feet from behind. He wants to toe out just a little bit up there when you get him in motion. The one in second is better in terms of feet and leg structure. He's a long-sided, attractive whether from the profile. There's just not enough to him. He's not as wide-based, he's not as big-ribbed, he's not as big-topped as a goat that wins the class, but a really attractive one that's built extremely well from the ground up. The other in third, big top goat with a big rib in him. He's got enough muscle in his leg, probably not, doesn't balance up as well as the two in front of him. He gets a little deeper chested, he gets a little rounder out of his hip, and he doesn't handle his feet and legs on the move quite as well as the two in front of him. The goat that ends up in fourth, another nice designed one that's long-bodied and got a nice shape down its top. He needs more leg in him. He needs to be wider at his stifle or at his pin set when you get right behind him. And I'd like to open his rib cage up just a touch as we compare him to some of the ones in front of him. Attractive goat here in fifth. That's really neat when the young man gets him set. He's level in his top line. He's level out of his hip. Good off his front end. I like the width, the chest he's got in him. His problem is when he walks away from you, he gets narrow from behind, wants to hawk in, doesn't handle his hind leg quite as well from hawk to ground. Great class. Congratulations to you exhibitors.
Class 3 should be in the holding area at this time. Class 3. Results from Class 2. 8th place, Jacob Frederick, Navarro FFA. 7th place, Connor Strife, Marion FFA. 6th place, Jordan O'Neill, Cibolo Creek FFA. 5th place, Hunter Stevens, Marion FFA. 4th place, Carly Alvarado, Marion FFA. 3rd place, Braden Fancher, Kingsbury 4-H. 2nd place, Lottie Owen, New Berlin 4-H. And 1st place in Class 2 is Alexis Guthrie, Marion FFA. Now entering the ring as Class 3, we have 10 entries and we'll be placing 8. Every ribbon will come with a white auction card. If this animal is the animal you plan on selling on Saturday, you need to turn in the white auction card. You can turn them in here at the announcer stand during the show and to the show office back in the Alpine trailer when the show is concluded. You only should turn in one auction card. So if you're showing a turkey tonight or a lamb tomorrow, you'll want to wait and find out what place is highest. But if you are planning on selling your goat, please turn those cards in as soon as possible. Our first and second place animals from Class 1 and 2 will need to present to the holding arena at this time. First and second places from Class 1 and Class 2, please be in the holding area at this time.
No, you're good.
Really deep third class with a lot of quality in it. An exceptional pair to win this class. I like them both a lot. The one that wins, it's just a little stouter made and got more to him. He's bigger racked and he's bigger in his loin. I think he has an advantage in terms of length of side from flank to flank. Really good off his feet and legs. Really nice one to start this class. And the second one complements him very well. He's really big racked. He's big ribbed. Tends to shorten up just a touch in terms of length of side and length of hip to our class winner, but a pair of goats that are very comparable, very nice in their design and shape, really functional and good from the ground up. The one that ends up third is the biggest topped, heaviest muscle goat in the class, really powerful in terms of touch and handle. Disappoints you a little bit when you put him in the move. He's one that gets real narrow from behind and his hocks get close together, doesn't handle that hind leg quite as well as the two in front of him, and as a result he ends up in third. Very functional goat in fourth, one that needs some more muscle to move any higher. He's the narrowest over his rack, not quite as big ribbed as the three in front of him, but a really nice designed one that's good off his feet and legs and very nice design from the side. Young lady's goat here that ends up in fifth, another one that's got some shape to him on his top. He's good off his feet and legs, doesn't handle his hip and hind leg structure quite as well as the ones in front of him, and I think he needs a shot more muscle before we move him up much higher. Good class. Congratulations to you exhibitors.
Class 1 and 2, first and second place. We need you in the holding area now for the division drive. Results from Class 3, 8th place, Brooke Stevens, Marion FFA. 7th place, Lainey Osborne, Marion FFA. 6th place, Apple Ibarra, Cibolo Creek FFA. 5th place, Brinley Bierstead, Marion FFA. 4th place, Tate Townsend, 4-H Robotics. 3rd place, Clayton Wilkins, Navarro FFA. 2nd place, J.C. Townsend, Seguin FFA. And 1st place was Madison Townsend from Seguin FFA. We will now have our Division I champion drive. Coming into the show ring are going to be first and second place animals from Class 1, 2, and 3. Second place from Class 1 was Madison Townsend, Seguin FFA. And first place, Clayton Wilkins from Navarro FFA. From Class 2, second place was Lottie Owen from New Berlin 4-H. And first place was Alexis Guthrie from Marion FFA. And Class 3, second place, J.C. Townsend, Seguin FFA. And first place, Madison Townsend, Seguin FFA.
you rabbit exhibitors, if you have a non-placing rabbit, if you would, please go ahead and remove your rabbit. If you have another pen of rabbits in the same class, that's fine, just leave them. But if you do not place, go ahead and take your rabbits and move them out.
Did she? I think so.
Outstanding Division I goats here at the county show. Really good set. These class winners are really nice designed. They got muscle, they got shape, and you follow them up with some seconds that are really good as well. You know, we can talk about a few of these. This lightweight goat, as I said in class, he excels that class in terms of skeletal design and structure. Maybe he needs a shot more muscle and maturity to widen him out and make him a little stouter made as we compare him to class 2 and 3, but I really like him in terms of his design and skeletal makeup. The one out of the second class, probably the most unique one out here in terms of the way he's built and designed. He doesn't come without a few flaws, but I really appreciate the rib shape, the rib design, and the way he transitions from his shoulder into his rib and rack shape. He's the most expressive right over his rack, really opens up in a great rib shape and huge out of the top side of his hip. He's got more expression of muscle than anything out here, maybe a little rougher in his hip-loin junction there, as you can see, and I don't think he's quite as good right at the ground in the way he turns those toes on his back feet on the move. The goat that comes out of class 3, another one that's just structurally very sound, really good off his feet and legs, really complete kind of a goat that doesn't blow you away in terms of muscle, but he's got plenty of it. He's got some shape down his top, he's got a big hip in him, he's good on his feet and legs, and he's got enough rib shape to go along with that. The decision here for me, it comes between class 2 and class 3, and which one's the most unique in their design and shape and the way they're put together. I like class 2 to be your champion out of this division. Class 3 will be reserved. Congratulations.
Class 4, please present to the holding area at this time. Division I champion for the Market Goat Show today is Alexis Guthrie from Marion FFA. Reserve champion goes to Madison Townsend from Seguin FFA. Class 4 has 12 entries and we will be placing 9. Showmanship will happen at the conclusion of the goat show. If you are interested in showmanship, it is anybody that wants to come is more than welcome, and we will divide you into junior, intermediate, and seniors immediately following the champion drive. Along with turning in the white sales card, any project that you plan on selling on Saturday, you must take a backdrop picture. Even if you may or may not sell this project, take the backdrop picture today while you have your animal. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, but for any animal that is going to be auctioned on Saturday, you will need a backdrop picture and you will need to turn in your auction card. Class 5 goats, please present to the holding area. Class 5 goats, this is your first call.
Really good class and a really nice pair on top that you've got to make some decisions on. Both of them, neither one of them perfect, both of them really good goats that I like quite a bit. Love the handle and touch in the one that wins the class. He's the freshest down his top. He's the biggest bone. He's the one that's really wide-chested and stout in his skeletal makeup. He's not cooperating at all out here today. Doesn't want to show himself off, and as a result, his hip is not as good as the one that the young ladies here ends up in second. This goat is really massive in terms of rib shape or rack shape coming right out of the top of his shoulders. Tends to decline a little bit right through his loin edge. Not as up in his loin edges as the one we have in second. Not as big at the top side of his hip in terms of pin set as the one that wins the class. I think it's really close. You can swap these around how you see fit. That's the way I did them today. Young lady that ends up third here in the green shirt, another nice designed goat. I love his style and the balance from the profile. Probably one of the better ones out here in the top 5. In terms of style, balance, and eye appeal, not enough muscle to him today to move any higher. Gets a little flatter and narrower over his rack, not as good in his loin edge as the two that are in front of him, but a really complete goat that's great off his feet and legs. The goat, the red rumped goat here in fourth, another one that's got a big top in him. He's got a great rib set to him, deep in his rear flank, not as good in his hip and hind legs when you put him in motion. Gets flatter in his stifle, flatter in his pin set, not quite as wide and stout made out of his hip as the 3 that precede him in class. And then a goat here that ends up in 5th that I really like in terms of skeletal design, just not enough muscle on him. He needs more shape down his top. He needs a bigger rib coming right out of the top side of his rack. He needs to be a little stouter when you get right behind him. Great class. Congratulations to you exhibitors.
Class 5, last call. You should be in the holding area at this time. Results from Class 4, 9th place, Jamie Valdez, Cibolo Creek FFA. 8th place, Jamie Valdez, Cibolo Creek FFA. 7th place, JC Townsend, Seguin FFA. 6th place, Reese Isham, Navarro FFA. 5th place, Abigail Owen, New Berlin 4-H. 4th place, Trace Guthrie, Marion FFA. 3rd place, Trace Guthrie, Marion FFA. 2nd place, Jasmine Missildine, Outdoor Challenge 4-H. And 1st place goes to Riley Childs, Kingsbury 4-H. Now coming into the arena is Class 5. In this class, there are 10 entries and we'll be placing 8. Class 6, this is your first call to present to the holding area. Class 6, first call.
All right, for Class 1, Market Rabbits, we had 32 pins of rabbits placed in the first class. Number 32, Sophia Dean. Number 31, Elliot Mergel. Number 30, Madison Mays. Number 29, Aubrey Bowman. Number 28, Briley Stride. Number 27, Kylan McClendon. Number 26, Kyle Silvers. Number 25, Abby Plant. Number 24, Kylie McClendon. Number 23, Bailey Baker. Number 22, Jackson Ellie. Number 21, Jasmine Smith. Number 20, Evan Haig. Number 19, Emma Kraus. Number 18, Micah Morrison. Number 17, Trey Plant. Number 16, Bradley Borchardt. Number 15, Isabella Trafilio. Number 14, Joshua Kutzer. Number 13, Carlos Gomez. Number 12, Amaris Martinez. Number 11, Ella Scheel. Number 10, Landon Trost. Number 9, Catherine Martinez. Number 8, Nina Gustafiero. Number 7, Cash Bacchus. Number 6, Kayla Martinez. Number 5, Landry Wilson. Number 4, Dayton Oberly. Number 3, Andrew Savayan. Number 2, Colt Kucher. Close enough. Number 1, Joshua Kotzer. Let's give those kids a hand.
Huh?
Over there. And here's your money. Oh, your burger's good.
All right, thank you, babe.
Kathy Hartman, if you could come to the announcer stand, please, thank you. Class 6, last call, please come to the holding area.
Well, some difficulties in this class in terms of matching them up. They're all different. But I do like the one with the spot in his back. I think he wins the class pretty handily. Walks away with it in terms of bone and structural design. Really good and fresh down his top. He's not the heaviest muscle one in the class, but I think he's the most complete. Really nice design from the profile. Long neck, very elegant up to his front end. And then when you get your hands on him, he doesn't disappoint you down his top and into that leg. A littler goat here in second that I like a lot from his last rib forward. Love the way he's designed up to his chest floor and the roundness of rib he has, the way his neck ties into the top of his shoulder. His problem is out of his hip and hind leg. Gets a little steep in his rump, not quite as good on his hind too when you put him in motion, but boy is that one packed full of muscle and really neat to handle. The goat that ends up in third, another top level design goat that's good off his feet and legs, not quite as muscular as the two we see in front of him. He's narrower over his rack and loin edge, not quite as wide in his pin set from behind. And then the next goat that comes in line here in fourth, another big topped, heavy muscle goat that wants to break behind his shoulders and get around out of his hip a little bit at times, but a really muscular one that you got to like in terms of rib shape. We'll round the top five out with a really attractive one on the profile. Just needs a shot more muscle and base width to move any higher. Good class. Congratulations to you guys.
Before we do Class 5 results, there is a black Ram 2500 that is parked over here behind the trailers, license plate NRX 7136. You need to move your vehicle. Again, that's a black Ram 2500 2020 model. Please move your vehicle. Class 5 results. 8th place, Cody Conway, Cibolo Creek FFA. 7th place, Jordan O'Neill, Cibolo Creek FFA. 6th place, Brooke Clements, McQueenie 4-H. 5th place, Joshua Kotzer, Santa Clara 4-H. 4th place, Peyton Cisak, Navarro 4-H. 3rd place, Carly Alvarado, Marion FFA. 2nd place, Reese Kelm, Navarro 4-H. And 1st place, Reese Isham, Navarro FFA. Now entering the arena will be Class 6. We have 9 entries and we'll be placing 7. Please remember, with every ribbon, you will be given an auction card. You can only auction one project, and that project will need an auction card turned in as soon as possible and a background picture taken with your animal. First and second place from Class 4 and 5, please come to the holding area at this time.
You rabbit exhibitors, y'all just hold on a little bit for this third class. Judge is going to take a little bit of a break when we get finished with this one. I will call your name or call your number out where we have enough time for y'all to line up before we start judging the third class. But you rabbit exhibitors, just kind of hold up for a little bit. And as soon as the judge takes a little bit of a break here, then we'll resume.
If I can have your attention real quick, want to introduce myself. My name is Dustin Morganroth. I'm chairman of the Guadalupe County Youth Show. Want to thank all of you guys for coming out today. Hopefully your kids are having a great experience. Really what I want to do is just take a moment. I know we're about halfway through our goats and rabbits, and I just want to give our rabbit committee and our goat committee volunteers a big round of applause for all the work that they've done to this point to get this show going. We are we are truly blessed as an organization. We have great volunteers, and without those volunteers, we wouldn't be able to have this. And so, if you see any of these guys and gals afterwards, tell them thank you, shake their hand, because they put a lot of hours into making sure that this show is a good experience for our kids, as well as all of our staff that's up here on the stage, and all the office staff that's in there processing all the play scenes and getting everything ready for the entries and for the auction this weekend. If you get a chance, just tell them thank you. And again, let's give them a big round of applause for all their help.
Well, a nice class, and I think structural design kind of sorts these top two goats towards the top. I think they're the best off their feet and leg. Structurally, I think they're built as good as any in the class. The one that wins the class is wider based and better out of his hip and hind leg than the one that comes second. I think he's got enough muscle shape to him, but he's really excels the class, and it blends from his shoulders into his rib design all the way back through his hip loin, really designed well and built well. I could put just a touch more muscle in him if you're going to get critical of one, and maybe this one in second has a little more expression down his top, but he's flatter ribbed and he's narrower made, and he's not near as stout when you get right behind him. Love the one in second from a profile standpoint, though. That one's really neat to look at. He's up in his chest floor and long-sided, really complete goat to fall in second. The heavy muscle goat stands in third. Really big top in this one. He gets a little wastier in his shoulder and his chest plate. He's not quite as neat out of his hip and hind leg, but a lot of product and power in this one to run him towards the top. The goat that ends up in fourth, another nice designed one, that's not near as long-hipped, not near as big muscled, and when you get right behind him in his stifle and lower leg, he's not as expressive down his top as some of the goats in front of him, but I think that's a really complete one there as well. Another goat here in fifth with a lot of top shape to him. You can see that he rounds out of his hip just a little bit and gets too straight on those hind legs on the move. Good class. Congratulations to you exhibitors.
Results from Class 6. Seventh place goes to Brendan Manning, Navarro 4-H. Sixth place, Riley Childs, Kingsbury 4-H. Fifth place, Taylor Young, Outdoor Challenge 4-H. Fourth place, Rudy Corolla, Marion FFA. Third place, Colson Owen, New Berlin 4-H. Second place, Tate Townsend, 4-H Robotics. And first place is Ruby Corolla, Marion FFA. We're welcoming back into the arena our first and second place animals for our Division II Goat Drive from classes 4, 5, and 6. Second place from Class 4, Jasmine Missildine, Outdoor Challenge 4-H. First place from Class 4, Riley Childs, Kingsbury 4-H. Second place from Class 5, Reese Kelm, Navarro 4-H. First place from Class 5, Reese Isham, Navarro FFA. And second place from Class 6 is Tate Townsend, 4-H Robotics. And first place, Class 6, is Ruby Corolla, Marion FFA.
a middleweight division where I'll be honest, I don't think there's a clear-cut winner out here. I think there's some give and take in these top three as we talk about each one of them and in their respective classes. And the lightweight out of this, or I guess that would be class 4, class winner. I thought that goat in class was really massive in terms of muscle shape, and he is. He's really thick, really massive over his top, fresh to the touch, one that structurally there's a lot of things you'd like to change about him. His hip and hind leg structure is not as good as it should be. He's one that I'd like to make a little leveler out of his hip and more functional off that hind leg, but I love the touch and handle that this one's got, and he's got a big top in him and a big hip to go along with it. The one in second, a lot of things you like about him in terms of muscle shape, really big top, raw boned, really trim, needs to be a little fresher today, particularly in his loin. He's not as big boned as I'd like for him to be out here either. The goat with the spot in his back out of the second division, or second class in this division, another one that takes a pretty picture from the side. He's built well in his transitions, really good design from his shoulder into his neck, from his shoulder into his rib cage. If there's one thing I'd change about this guy, it would be making bigger ribbed. He needs more rib shape. He needs more dimension to the center part of his body to make him more functional compared to the two on either side of him. The goat that followed him has that. The problem with that goat is he gets a little shorter and rounder out of his hip. But boy, is he packed full of muscle. That second place goat is really thick, really stout, and great from his last rib forward. The goat in class 3, I liked him a lot in terms of feet and leg structure. In terms of all of these that are out here, he's probably the soundest on the move. He's the most functional in the way he's designed. Really good rib shape. He's probably the lightest muscled of the three that are out here on the top end of this deal today. But I think a really complete one that's good off his feet and legs and sound and very functional. The one that comes second to him, really unique in his rib. Really good ribbed, up in his chest floor, long-sided, kind of a goat that's level hip, just needs to be pulled apart and have more to him. I think it's a close call in this division, really a difficult call actually, because you're looking at such different types and kinds. For me, to go out of class 3 will be your champion today. I like him quite a bit. I think he's really neat. Good job. I think from there you pull in the second in that class, and then there's another really unique one in terms of his length of body and length of side. I wish he was stouter from behind, but I think the second best goat that comes out of here next is the goat with the spot in the middle of his back out of class 2. He'll be your reserve in this middleweight division.
Class 7, please present to the holding area at this time. Class 7, please come to the holding area. Results from Division 2 Drive, Division 2 Champion, Ruby Corolla, Marion FFA. Reserve Champion, Reese Isham, Navarro FFA. Next up is going to be Class 7. We have 10 entries, and we'll be placing 8. Just as a reminder, everyone who receives a ribbon is eligible for sale. You can sell one project on Saturday. Please turn in your sales card as soon as you know what animal you want to sell. The sales card can come here to the announcer stand during the goat show, or to the rabbit committee while the rabbit show's going on. And after these shows are completed, they can go to the show office in the Alpine trailer. You will also need a picture with the project that you sell on Saturday. All projects proceeding to sell on Saturday will need an official show picture with the show photographer.
No, I missed that. Well, we get into our heavyweight division here, and a nice set of goats on the top end. Some of them got a lot of look. Some of them have a little more muscle than others. I'm going to use this goat that I think is the combination goat in this class. He's the one that handles with some thickness down his top, opens up really big at the top side of his hip, got a huge pin set in him, and he's wide base from behind. Maybe not quite as attractive, or he's definitely not quite as attractive as the goat that comes in second. He's not as up in his chest floor and neat in his neck-shoulder junction, but I think he's one that's got some power and product to him, still good off his feet and legs, and has some muscle. The one that comes second, really like from the profile. Really attractive goat that's long-sided, really neat in his rib shape and rib design, just needs to be more to him. He's a little narrower and flatter ribbed, not quite as wide-based and stout-made from behind, and maybe needs a touch more bone to him. The black-fronted goat that comes in third, really nice in terms of skeletal width and design. Wide-chested goat that's level down his top line. He's got some base width from behind. I think he's one that's got some muscle shape, not as fresh today as the two in front of him. Not as good in his handle over his rack or through his hip loin. And then the goat here that comes forth is a really wide-based, stout-made one. Like to stretch him out a little bit. He gets a little softer to the touch and deeper up to his chest floor and shorter neck, but man, has he got a lot of muscle. Congratulations, young lady, on getting that one here. And then our fifth place goat, long-bodied, attractive goat from the side, needs a little more bone underneath him, and he needs to be wider based and stouter made. Good class, congratulations.
Class 8 should be in the holding arena at this time. Class 8, please come to the holding arena. Results from Class 7. 8th place, Jake Lesage, Marion FFA. 7th place, Annabella Basha, New Berlin 4-H. 6th place, Cadence Clarner, Santa Clara 4-H. 5th place, Cameron Bauman, Marion FFA. 4th place, Emma Hartman, Navarro FFA. 3rd place, Brooke Clements, McQueenie 4-H. 2nd place, Auburn Frost, Navarro FFA. And 1st place, Taylor Young, Outdoor Challenge 4-H. Now coming into the show ring is Class 8. There are 9 entries and we'll be placing 7. Class 9, first call, Class 9. Class 9, last call, please present to the holding area at this time. Showmanship for the goat show will happen immediately following the champion drive. We'll have juniors, intermediates, and seniors broken into classes. If you're interested in doing showmanship, it is show up to show. You do not have to pay extra, and you do not have to sign up.
Another heavyweight class, and I think a nice pair on the top here. The one that wins the class edges out the one in second in terms of muscle shape. No doubt the one in second's level or topped and really cool to look at on a profile standpoint. I just wish he had the muscle that the one that wins the class has. The one that wins the class, really a big-footed, stout-made goat that's got a big top in him, really big out of the top side of his hip, carries that down to a lot of base width from behind. Now the one in second, really cool to look at. Neat designed goat that just needs a shot more muscle in him. He gets a little flatter in his stifle, not quite as fresh and full down his top as the goats that stand on either side of him. Probably the smallest goat out here in third, a little shorter bodied, wider based, earlier maturing type goat, but man is he thick. He's really powerful down his top, got a lot of bone underneath him. I'd like to extend him a little bit and give him more extension out through his front end and out of his hip. The goat that ends up here in fourth, big round hip in him, got some muscle shape down his top. He's too narrow based underneath. I'd like to widen him out in the lower 1/3, give him more rib shape, maybe just a touch more bone to compare to some of the ones in front of him. The goat that rounds out our top 5 is a nice topped goat that's got some expression and shape over his rack and loin. Maybe plays out when we get right behind him in that stifle and lower leg, not quite as wide underneath as well. Good class. Congratulations to you exhibitors.
Results from Class 8, 7th place, Calvin Owen, New Berlin 4-H. 6th place, Preston Cheatham, New Berlin 4-H. 5th place, Ava Delgado, Cibolo Creek FFA. 4th place, Jacob Frederick, Navarro FFA. 3rd place, Peyton Cisak, Navarro 4-H. 2nd place, Mason Wurzbach, Marion FFA. And 1st place, Alexis Guthrie, Marion FFA. Now coming into the show ring is going to be Class 9. 9 entries and placing 7.
You rabbit exhibitors, we're getting ready to start this next class, so if y'all would, go ahead and come on in. I'm going to call out your numbers and come stand in behind your rabbits. 94, 156, 103, 33, 147, 85, 114, 164, 121, 135, 71, 112, 127, 136, 8, 104, 5, 20, 160, 91, 13, 7, 128, 88, 37, 54, 60, 109, 52, 19, 43, 148, 57, 153, 154, 118, 166, 111, and 87. You exhibitors, come on in. He's gonna get started in here just a minute. Y'all remember, those of y'all, once you've placed, if you have another project, you want to wait to turn your sale card in, we understand. But in order to sell, you must turn in a sale card. Don't forget to do that. Also, you've heard the same thing with the lamb or the goats. You still have to everyone has to have a picture in order to sell. Okay?
First and second place goats from class 7 and 8, please proceed to the holding arena at this time.
a nice heavyweight class, and I think a good pair on the top end of it. You can switch this one around any way you see fit. I like the added handle and expression of muscle in the goat that's going to lead the class off, and I think he's probably just a nickel longer sided and blends better in his neck shoulder junction than the one we have in second. The goat in second, really nice designed, big footed, stout made goat that's wide based and wide chested, maybe not quite as long bodied as the one that wins the class, particularly right out of his hip. The goat that ends up third, another youthful goat here in our heavyweight class that's trim over his ribs, got some shape down his top, and he's good off his feet and legs, and I think that earns you a spot up here in the top three. The goat in fourth, big rib, stout-made goat that's heavy muscled, just gets off in his hind leg, wants to drop in his pasterns a little bit, have a little more set to his hock when you put him in motion. And then the goat that rounds out our top five is another nice design goat from a profile standpoint, just not enough muscle in him, not enough base width when you get underneath him. Good class. Congratulations to you exhibitors.
Results from Class 9. 7th place, Holly Bishop, Navarro FFA. 6th place, Kaylee Lott, Marion FFA. 5th place, Levi Garcia, Navarro 4-H. 4th place, Madison Niles, Marion FFA. 3rd place, Brinley Bierstead, Marion FFA. 2nd place, Lottie Owen, New Berlin 4-H. And 1st place, Abigail Owen, New Berlin 4-H. We'll now do our Division III champion drive with 1st and 2nd places from Class 7, 8, and 9. 2nd place from Class 7, Auburn Frost, Navarro FFA. 1st place from Class 7, Taylor Young, Outdoor Challenge 4-H. 2nd place in Class 8 was Mason Wurzbach, Marion FFA. And 1st place, Alexis Guthrie, Marion FFA. Class 9, 2nd place was Lottie Owen, New Berlin 4-H. And 1st place, Abigail Owen, New Berlin 4-H. Champion and reserves of Division 1 and 2, please present to the holding area at this time. We will have showmanship immediately following our grand champion drive, and we will show juniors, intermediates, and seniors in that order. Juniors are 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Intermediates are 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And seniors are 9, 10, 11, and 12th grades.
Well, heavyweight division with still some very youthful goats out here that have some shape and design to them, and I appreciate the quality that's out here in this heavyweight drive. The lightweight out of this division, another goat that's got some shape to him down his top. He's wide-based. He's not as cool to look at maybe from the side in terms of chest floor, relationship to his rear flank. He's not as big-ribbed. You know, you could talk a lot of things about him, but I like this goat in terms of completeness. He's really shaped well down his top, and he's got some muscle and bone underneath there. The second place behind him, a really attractive goat, one that you really liked in terms of his design. Needs a shot more muscle and base width to move up and beat this one that wins the class, but a good pair there out of that first class in this division. I thought a pair in the second class that matched up very well. The one that wins it pretty handily in that division. A big bone, stout Mayweather that's got a huge loin in him, got plenty of muscle shape to go along with it. He probably, when you put him in motion, he wants to droop in his tail just a little bit, not quite as easy flowing out of his hip and hind leg as maybe another goat or two that's out here, but I'm picking on one that's pretty good. The second in that class, a really nice designed one. Level in his design, really youthful and trim to the touch, but again, needed a touch more muscle. He's not as big in his rack, he's not as full in his loin edges as the one that wins that class. Two similar goats out of the heavyweight or the last class, very similar in their types and kinds. Young lady on this side that wins the class has more top shape. He's really square down his top and big out of his hip, but I think in terms of what you look at towards the two that stand in front of him, I don't know if there's enough to him in terms of muscle. He's not as big in his rack, he's not as big in his loin, and for his size and scale of him, maybe he needs just a touch more muscle to balance out just quite as well. The second place to him, I think, is another one that's really nice in terms of muscle shape. Again, two youthful goats that were in that heavyweight class that came to the top pretty quick. A really nice division. I think a good set of goats. Let's give a hand to your middleweight winner in this class. This will be your class champion or division champion. I think you bring up that second in that class, and again, a super attractive goat, one you got to love from the profile. I wish there was more to him, but it really balances up extremely good. High quality type goat. I like him for reserve. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our Division III champion, Alexis Guthrie, Marion FFA, and reserve, Mason Wurzbach, Marion FFA. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank our buckle donors. The champion goat buckle was donated by Double J Livestock and the Alexis Jones family. Reserve champion goat buckle was donated by Rollo Insurance and Monica Thomas. If there's any representatives here for those organizations today that would like to present these buckles, we are happy to have you in the arena at this time. All division champion and reserve should be in the holding area at this time, please. If you have a pre-junior or junior, a third, fourth, or fifth grader that would like to participate in showmanship, please get your goats ready. As soon as the champions and reserves come out of the holding arena, you will be needed there. If you are in third, fourth, or fifth grade, please be getting your goats ready. As we prepare for our champion drive for the 2022 Guadalupe County Youth Show Market Goat Show, we'd like to acknowledge our exhibitors that are coming into the arena. Our reserve champion for Division 1 is Madison Townsend from Seguin FFA. Reserve champion of Division 2 is Reese Isham from Navarro FFA. And reserve champion from Division 3 is Mason Wurzbach from Marion FFA. Champion of the Division 1 is Alexis Guthrie from Marion FFA. Champion from Division 2 is Ruby Corolla, Marion FFA. And champion from Division 3 is Alexis Guthrie from Marion FFA. Again, our buckle donors, the buckle donor for the champion goat buckle is Double J Livestock and the Alex Jones family. Reserve champion goat buckle donor Rollo Insurance and Monica Thomas. While our judge completes the judging of the champion drive, we'd like to thank him again for coming down and judging our show today. We'd also like to remind you that if you are going to sell a goat project, please take a backdrop picture with the official photographer before you leave, and turn in the white sales card here to the announcer stand during the show. If you decide after the show what animal you're going to sell, please turn in that buyer's card or the sales card as soon as you can.
Outstanding goat show today, and I know we've still got showmanship to go here in a few minutes, but I do want to congratulate these 6 that made it back in the champion drive, as well as all the kids that showed today. Put your hands together and congratulate them for a great job. It's always fun to judge a good stock and have the opportunity to come out and sort some that really have some quality to them and that have some potential in front of them, and some goats that you'd like to watch throughout the year, maybe see if they go on down the road somewhere. But a really good set here today. All 3 divisions, I think, were goats that made me I had to make some hard decisions and some things that you have to decide, especially when we talk about structural design versus muscle. We talk about goats that are fresh and full and ready today versus some of those goats that are maybe just a little over the hill or maybe not even ready yet. So there's a lot of things that go into who ends up out here at the very end and how they end up doing as a whole. But I am really pleased with the quality of the 6 goats that came back for the grand drive all the way around. The lightweight goat, I think, is an awesome goat. That's a high quality goat that has a lot of potential, really great rib shape and rib design in him, good on his feet and legs, good enough on his feet and legs, in my opinion, to run with them. He's a little rough in his hip loins at times, but I think he blends together well, a tremendous amount of muscle shape, and it balances out very well with his body size. And if you could change his toe placement just a little bit at the very back, he's a great one. The one out of the middle division, I liked quite a bit in that division. I think he's the most complete, super good on his feet and legs, handles with enough muscle, but he doesn't blow either one of the goats out here away in terms of muscle. Both of them that stand on either side of him have more shape, they got more muscle, they got more dimension, but this one's really good off his feet and legs, and he balances up well from the profile, takes a good picture. They go out of the heavyweight division, the big stout one, huge rack and loin in him, just eat up with muscle, and then you look at the bone work that's underneath him, and I think he's still cool enough. Is he as fresh today as the 2 littler goats? Probably not. Is he as good out of his hip and hind leg? Probably not, but I think a really good set. Put your hands together one more time and congratulate all these kids, and I'll go out and select your grand and reserve.
Reserve champion goes to Ruby Corolla from Marion FFA. And your grand champion goat for the 2022 Market Goat Show here in Guadalupe County is going to be Alexis Guthrie from Marion FFA. Here to present the champion buckle from Double J Livestock and the Alex Jones family is Mr. Bierstead. And the reserve champion goat buckle from Rollo Insurance, Monica Thomas and Shaylin Welch. Showmanship. If you are in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade and would like to show in showmanship, please come to the holding area at this time. We'd like to thank our buckle donors for showmanship. Our junior buckle donor is Producers Co-op in Seguin. Intermediate buckle donor is Galen and Teddy Oshloski and the Ernest Hartman Jr. family. And our senior showmanship buckle was donated by Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC and Heating. If there are any representatives from Producers Co-op, if they'd like to come and present the Junior Goat Showmanship Buckle, please come to the holding area at this time.
All right, everyone, class number 2 for market rabbits. We placed 35 rabbits in this class, or 35 pins of rabbits in this class. Number 35, Emma Gonzalez. Number 34, Ashley Parsons. Number 33, Ainsley Baker. Number 32, Callie Benavides. Number 31, Andrea Salivar. Number 30, Jackson Garner. Number 29, Landon Bertling. Number 28, Mason Englehart. Number 27, Cooper Benavides. Number 26, Julian Saldivar. Number 25, McKenna Jaquez Calamay. Number 24, Leyland Sturm. Number 23, Cammie Bertling. Number 22, Mackenzie Silvers. Number 21, Faith Forsberg. Number 20, Bailey Baker. Number 19, Nathan Jerzombek. Number 18, Chloe Atsker. Number 17, Kinsey Deason. Number 16, Michaela Cooper. Number 15, Sterling Barbie. Number 14, Caden Atsker. Number 13, Kira McClendon. Number 12, Nina Gustaferrero. Number 11, Jana Elam. Number 10, Avery Woodward. Number 9, Faith Forsberg. Number 8, Adeline Stewart. Number 7, Tessa Thomas. Number 6, Breland Fennell Leach. Number 5, Colette Forsberg. Number 4, Harrison Engelkey. Number 3, Peyton Trapp. Number 2, Mela Kim. And number 1, Emerson Bradfield. Let's give that round of market rabbits a hand.
Currently in the GOAT Arena, we have junior showmanship. If you are an intermediate and would like to show in showmanship, please come to the holding area at this time. That would be 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. If you are in the 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, please come to the holding area.
If anybody would like to switch places, I'm open. It's pretty tough. Really cute group of showmen out here that do an excellent job. I think we could talk about them all day, and we could work them in a lot of different ways and circles and shapes. But I think I've got my mind made up, and it's unfortunate we only get one, because there's 2 or 3 out here that do a really exceptional job for the junior age division. A great job. I like to see those goats with their feet underneath them. I like to see them in a natural pose. I like to see that neck positioned right in them. And I think all these kids have done a really good job. Put your hands together and congratulate them all, and we'll go out and shake the hand of your champion junior showman.
Congratulations to our junior showman, Lottie Owen, from the New Berlin 4-H. Next up will be intermediate showmanship, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. If you are in high school and want to participate in the goat showmanship, please be getting your projects ready and come to the holding area as soon as intermediate showmanship enters the ring.
Don't pull me down with you.
Our junior buckle was donated by Producers Co-op. We appreciate their support. Our intermediate showmanship buckle is donated by the Galen and Teddy Oslowski family and the Ernest Hartman Jr. family.
Well, a really good set of intermediate showmen. They do a really fine job. At the end of the day, goats get tired, and I recognize that, and I realize that, but I'm going to give you one piece of advice, and this will be good for the seniors that are coming in. Throw away the halters. If you can't walk a goat on a collar, you got to start there. Then you go get a halter. But we got goats running all over you out here that are just making circles around you, and I think a lot of that has to do with those halters. So get rid of the halters, try and make sure you start goats on a collar, walk those things, make sure they can show like that. Then you go get you a halter and you can use them a lot more efficient. Really good set of showmen. I like for them to be planted. I like to be able to handle them the same way every time when you come by. And I think you guys have done a super job of that. Really good set. Give them a round of applause. We'll go out and show you your champion intermediate.
Don't take it.
Our intermediate showmanship winner is Alexis Guthrie. From Marion FFA. And our buckle donors were the Galen and Teddy Oslowski and the Ernest Hartman Jr. family. Here to present is Galen and Kathy. Next up is our senior showmanship.
What's the tag number for Lottie?
These are 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. And our buckle donor is Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC and Heating.
You people here in the rabbit barn in front of by the cages, if you have rabbits in the cage, please stay. If not, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. At least move back here onto the other side.
As the judge concludes the senior goat showmanship, we'd like to remind everybody, if you're planning on selling a goat, you must take a backdrop picture with an official photographer, and you must turn in a sales card here to the announcer's stand with your placing and what class you are in.
Excellent senior showmanship, really competitive, really tough. It's not my favorite thing to judge, I'll tell you that, because it's really, really competitive. These kids work hard all year long, or for several years, growing up from juniors to intermediates to seniors, to get to this point to where they can handle their goats. And a lot of times it's a matter of whether your goat's responding today, whether he's having a good day or whether he's having a bad day. And so a lot of it's out of your control at times, but I appreciate all of you working with me today. It's been a lot of fun to sort through the goats, to have the opportunity to work with your kiddos, put your hands together and congratulate them all, and I'll select your grand champion senior showman.
Our champion senior goat buckle was donated by Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC and Heating and will be presented by Joel, the owner of Quarter Moon Plumbing and AC and Heating. Champion senior showman is Ruby Corolla from Marion FFA. And Joel Frederick is out there now presenting her with her buckle. Please take all the pictures that you need here in the next few minutes, and the goats need to be removed from the ground so we can clean up and get ready for the next show.